Good evening. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Wednesday, the 11th of December. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some boredom and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, let's have a look at the indices today. Yesterday, we saw a low where I would have expected to see it, and we saw a very nice move up today. That almost retested the high. We're coming back to back test the week pivot. Might go a little lower, but I'm expecting to see a retest of the all-time high. On NQ, we've already retested the all-time high. This was the strongest today, and really, arguably, the whole thing was tech today. And we can see that looking at IWM, which was slightly off the low today, and Dow, which actually managed to make a lower low. Which was not unexpected, although it does mean that we've actually made the double top target for here, which we hadn't previously. We've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fixed here, which at the moment I'm wondering whether it's going to fail just like the last buy signal did. That was a weak one too. So keeping an open mind on this and watching support at the monthly pivot at 44,006. Okay, looking at DAX. Almost back at the highs. That was getting an early start yesterday morning, actually. And ESTX is rallying and probably heading back to the highs as well. Now, I do have a couple of concerns about that, and I was going through them in my post today, Life on Mars, and I would suggest you have a look at that, because what I was talking about was the dissonance here between ES stroke SPX and NQ stroke QQQ stroke NDX on the other hand, on one hand, and then Dow and IWM on the other. And it was a fairly stark contrast. Here on ES, we saw, hang on, wait a second, that doesn't include today's data, which tends to update fairly late. All right, okay, nice move off. We never got back to the daily middle band here. On SPX, again, well short of the daily middle band, and looks as though it's heading back up. We do have a weak RSI 5 sell signal fixed, but it's not a level of divergence which I'd generally be taking that seriously. Qs are a different story. We got a weak RSI 5 sell signal fixed there too, and I'd say the same thing about the divergence, but the difference is that SPX went down below the 50 level on the RSI 5 on that last move. So when it comes up to the retest here, it's not setting up a full size signal. Qs are setting up a full size signal. And a full-size RSI 5 sell signal is now brewing. So my concern was that we would see retests here, and then we would see a fail led by Dow and IWM, and we will see. In terms of the 15-minute chart here, we had quite a lot of negative divergence at the high today. That's playing out. Likely needs a little more, but we will see. On Dia, Dia, the RSI 5 sell signal reached the full target today. So, and we are testing the daily middle band with rather more enthusiasm than I would like, and actually managed to close below it today. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. RSI 14 buy signal that again might be doomed here, but this does look like a flag, and this actually looks like a double bottom, and it may be one, but it needs to find some support here and start going up. I still like retest the high across the board if we can manage it. I like it particularly because on IWM we've got a nice looking flag. So let's have a quick look at that. We got the flag here, and we've got a really lovely channel on RTY. So this is a nice looking bull flag setup, and it may well play out. But if this breaks down, then of course I'm looking at this large double top and wondering whether that might actually play out and whether the center rally might be finishing early. I'd prefer that wasn't the case, but the market doesn't generally take requests in my experience, so we will see. All right, looking at DAX, nice move up here. The retracement wasn't large enough to even think about getting back to the daily middle band. Nikkei, we've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing once this high gets retested, but I would like to see this go higher. I would say though that if the market's getting concerned about tariffs now instead of getting concerned about those next year, and when the new administration comes in, then well, we could see a wild year next year. Tariffs, if they are imposed across the board and really pursued with enthusiasm, are going to cause an awful lot of cause carnage potentially. and across currencies, across everything really, and particularly in markets and bonds. So I'm thinking I've been leaning towards seeing a high in late December or in January or February, but that's a high which potentially could last all of 2025 very easily. And actually, we've got a very good example of a fairly recent example where that has happened. So if we have a look at the SPX chart on the weekly, I'm effectively talking about potentially a rerun of 2022. Where we made the high at the start of the year, and then it formed a bull flag basically for the whole year. And we will see, because I think that might be coming here. But ideally, if we were going to do that, I would like to reach this trend line, and we haven't reached it yet. Now, we don't absolutely have to reach it. It's just the obvious target. And we've got time for it, assuming as the market doesn't get too spooked. I mean, personally, I think that that things are being thrown out now that won't necessarily get acted on. They just want people to react as though they might get acted on. And that's just sensible. That's negotiation, and so on and so forth. If we were going to see sky-high tariffs against everybody next year, then that would cause turmoil in a lot of markets. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's have a look at DX and bonds. Let's have a look at CL first, actually. Okay, CL, we've been stuck in a range for a long time. We're not close to the top. We haven't been close to the bottom lately. This is a contracting consolidation so far. That may change, but at the moment, this is a kind of triangle forming, and this kind of triangle would generally be bearish. Now, given that we've got an open target below at 63.57, which is the triangle target for the bigger triangle target, which broke down really at the start of this consolidation, then I'm leaning towards seeing that. That obviously could be mistaken. We start making some higher highs here over, let's say, 71.50 first, and then 72.50, well, 72.45. Then at that stage, I will be sitting up and taking notice. But even then, we may well be forming a bear flag. We will see. My lean is that we're going to go and get 63.57 at some point in the next few weeks. NG, I've got looking at the bigger picture charts, there's a pretty good chance, at least it looks a very nice looking setup too, form a right shoulder in on an IHS in an obvious time where you'd expect that kind of, where you would expect a decline. So that's what I'm leaning towards seeing. So we've seen a lot of very, very whippy moves on natural gas, and well, sometimes that's just the way natural gas is. But overall, we've been making some progress to the downside. This was a lower high against that. And we've got basically a succession of rolls, monthly rolls, which are all sloping downwards about 40 cents until next year. And actually, if you have a look at that, this is all the NG contracts for the next year and a half. And you can see that if you look at the prices, we've got, it varies a bit. It was at 40 when I looked at it the other day, but between now and April, we've got a decline of currently 53, 54. So, 55 actually. This isn't a small decline. That means basically the natural gas price needs to rise by 54 cents in order to stay at the same price until April. That's quite a headwind, and it's a very obvious time to actually head down. And if we're going to make a right shoulder, which would make a very nice looking pattern, then it's the obvious time to do it. So let's have a look at that on the bigger picture chart. All right, so hang on. All right, looking at CL first. CL, the main thing is this triangle, which broke down with the target in the 63.57 area. We've been kicking around, not doing much in particular. We've gone through the daily middle band a few times. We've gone through the 50 DMA a couple of times and not held it much. We've only tested the 200 DMA once since the triangle broke, and it failed there. So that's the main resistance up at 76. Secondary resistance is the resistance that broke today in the 70 area. And hang on, what? Give us today's data. Yeah, you can see we're breaking slightly above that over that today, but that's been quite good resistance quite a lot of the time, and we've not really sustained much of a move above it. we will see how it goes. Looking at NG, we've seen a couple of pretty decent looking days. On the bigger picture, we're getting back slightly worryingly back towards the inverted head and shoulder neckline. This would not be a right shoulder. It's got to be in proportion to a degree, and this is really not close enough. If we were forming a right shoulder for 3 or 4 months, ideally getting close to the left shoulder low at 1.95, that would make a very nice inverted head and shoulders. But you can see the neckline's almost perfect, 3.64, 3.64. This could be a really nice place to have it, but we're going to need to break the daily middle band, which has been holding so far as support, more or less, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days testing it. So we will see. If we see a break above 364, then this goes in the trash, and potentially we're breaking up for an asymmetric double bottom. But I really like it because natural gas is facing a headwind for the next 4 months, and this would be an obvious time for it to go down. So until demonstrated otherwise, that is my working theory. All right, let's have a look at metals. Now GC has gone up nicely. Could this still be a bear flag? Not really, I think. I think we more or less killed that off when we got over about 27.20. We've made a higher high over here, so that is higher high, higher low, higher high. This, well, technically that's an uptrend. Short term, we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. On silver, nice looking double bottom, which I was wondering whether it would break up with any enthusiasm, but actually it's broken up with some. It's not done badly. And I've got targets up here in the 33.90 to 34 area, and at the moment I'm not seeing any particular reason to think those won't get hit. On HG, we had a beautiful bear flag channel, and that broke. This would often precede a move up. Although sometimes it'll just mean that we form a longer and messier flag. But normally it would precede a move up, and I would be treating this as the bottoming pattern, and the target of that bottoming pattern would basically be up about here in about the 4.47 area. We'll see how that goes. But I do see flags form and then break against expectation, in effect acting as reversal patterns a fair amount. So this is how I'm treating this one at the moment. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Right, hang on. GC. Okay, GC, we've got nice move up. We're not actually that far away from the high here at 28.26. If we have a look at the bigger picture chart, I've got that high at 21.08, 801.80, and we're actually pretty close to it. My lean is we're probably going to reach it, even if we're not getting a great deal of help from the dollar. So at the moment we seem to be trying to establish a daily upper band rise. So more power to gold if it can manage it. I was a little doubtful, but so far it's delivering. SI, liking the double bottom, and at the moment I'm not seeing anything obvious to suggest that it's not going to make target. No negative divergence on the daily, so I'm liking it. It could, of course, reach that target and then continue higher into a retest of 35.07. I'd quite like to see that, actually. We will see how that goes. But the target only gets us up to the 33.9 to 34 area. All right, let's have a look at, let's have a quick look. Yeah, where's the target for that? It's slightly differently formed here because of the rolls and the futures. But basically, I've got the target for that in about 33.7 area. We're not that far away from it. It won't get us back to the high, but it'll get us a long way back to it. Right, palladium is having a period of uncertainty. It is getting back over. It did manage to get back over the daily middle band today, which is encouraging. But we're not really that far off the lows. Platinum, we got a nice looking double bottom, but we had a nice looking double bottom a week and a half ago. Since then, very little has happened. Looking at copper, no current divergence. We've broken over this declining resistance trend line, which is quite encouraging for more upside. We will see. And as that flag is broken up, we're testing. We've got quite a lot of resistance up here. We're testing the 50 DMA. We're testing the 200 DMA at 425 and 433 respectively. If it can get over those, then it could go quite a lot higher. So we shall see. All right, looking at GDX. This could be a bear flag. We're not really making a lot of progress off the lows, and I don't have a reversal pattern. On GDXJ, I actually found this really nice channel today. This is actually pretty sweet. And this is suggesting this low here. Well, it's strengthening this low here. Do we have a reversal pattern from that? We don't. But it doesn't look much like a bear flag either. So keeping an open mind on that. We've got a bit of negative divergence on both GDX and GDXJ. Hourly RSI 14 sell signals forming. We'll see how those go. All right, let's have a look at DX. Okay, DX. Sorry, ZB first. ZB broke up from this double bottom towards a target in the 121, 24 to 26 area, and at the moment, I'm wondering whether that's failing. I'd kind of been thinking the monthly pivot would hold as support, and so far it hasn't. 6-minute buy signal is fixed, but so far that's just a little bit lower lows, so it's not really holding here. Get much lower, and we're probably returning to the lows. The bigger picture is downtrend still. I'm pretty sure of it. So we, at least is the obvious way to go. All right, DX, lovely bull flag here. Really, really, really nice. And it's broken up. That's got a target and a retest this high here up in the 107.75 area. And I'm not seeing anything compelling suggesting that isn't going to make that target. We will see. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, DX. RSI 14 sell signal is fixed, but we don't have that on the index chart. So I would give it less weight because of that. It's we're testing the daily middle band at the moment and trying to get back over it. On the index chart, we didn't get the negative divergence at the high. We had a bit, but then we had a sell signal that failed. It formed a little differently. We did break this rising support, but it was a very, very steep rising trend line. We may just have been establishing an alternative. It looks like a bull flag, and the obvious next target on here would be a retest of this high here at 108.07, and potentially going higher. We will see, because we had this very, very long, sharp and strong rally from here, which I was talking about down here with the double bottom, if you remember. It's and it's been a very nice move. This could just be a bull flag retracement within that move, and it could go higher. Where could it go? Well, bigger picture. I think on the bigger picture, what this chart says to me is that we're probably going to see an awful lot of downside over the next few years. But what helps you deliver downside? Nice reversal pattern. How would be the best way to get that reversal pattern? Well, it would actually be to retest this high here at 114.75. I'm wondering whether we might do that. We will see. We're holding support at the 200 DMA. 200 week moving average at the moment. Looking at the daily chart, nothing really. It hasn't gone over already. I'm wondering if we're going to do that, and potentially we could see, it's not quite perfect because this wasn't a lower low, but this actually isn't a bad looking double bottom here, and a sustained break up over 107.05 looks for, well, pretty much that high. We've broken over it slightly. I'm probably going to redraw that at the weekend. I need to have a closer look at, think about it. But at the moment, I'm trying to interpret this as a double bottom that's broken up and is deciding whether or not it's going to head to the target or reject back to the lows. I'm wondering about that, and it would give us, on the bigger picture, a very nice topping pattern. And these happen a lot here. You can see this beautiful bottoming setup here in the late 80s and early 90s. You can see this one here where we're at this node comparing it to this one. And again, it was a very nice, played out beautifully. We don't have a reversal pattern here. And if we get down to this level here, 87.5, it's a bit low to be forming a head and shoulders. So I'm thinking actually if we are going to form a reversal pattern, maybe we will go back to 114.75. And that wouldn't really look any more unlikely than what we're looking at on TNX. Because really, a couple of months ago, I would have thought that our chances of getting back into a retest of this high here at 49.97 weren't that great. But since then, we had a very nice looking, hang on wait a second. We had a beautiful bull flag form, and that's trying to break up. No, it hasn't broken up with any confidence yet. We've been seeing a bit of a pullback here, which is the double bottom, which I'm wondering whether make target on ZB. But this looks like a bull flag which is breaking up towards 49.97. Now, that could be the second high of a double top, but it wouldn't have to be. If, let's say, tariffs were implemented at a high level across the board, that would shove up inflation quite a bit. What would that do to interest rates? They would go up. They would go up considerably. We could, at that stage, see a breakout to the upside on TNX. and there's certainly plenty of space to go. We will see, and potentially we've got already, arguably, we've got an IHS which is already broken up. Although, what I'd be inclined to interpret this actually is not that IHS, it would be this one coming across from this high here and would be forming the right shoulder at the moment. Not saying that's going to happen, and certainly a target which would be at that stage in the 8.5 to 9 area would be a very, very high target. But if we're going to get tariffs across the board, which I seriously doubt, on a big scale and a full trade war, then at that stage, that's on the table. We will see how it goes. I'm not expecting to see that, but I'm just throwing it out there. All right. In terms of TNX, we've got no current divergence. We had this double top breakdown, and this is the mirror image of the one on ZB. And at the moment, it looks as though it might be failing. We need to see TNX turn back down again soon if this is going to make target. Otherwise, we may just head back to 45.05 and resume the uptrend, with the obvious target at that stage being 49.97. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at. I've not done anything on currencies really today because really there's not a lot to see on the individual currencies, so it's not really. If there was something to see, I would be looking at it, but today there's really not a lot, so I'm skipping it. Apart from the else, I'm also taking the whole day off tomorrow, and I'm getting up early. All right, KC. KC, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. We've seen a decent decline today. Could this be a double top? Well, it was a lot better double top before this last move up. But I'm respecting the decline. We will see. SB, still in this very long consolidation. I'm rather hoping this breaks up into a retest of this high before this high falls off the chart, so I can only actually show three months on this chart, and that's almost up. Another couple of weeks, and this will be starting to drop off. We will see how it goes. But certainly, that was in late September. It's going to be off by the end of December. All right, CC. CC, little decline today, 60-minute sell signal fixed. We're continuing to go higher on increasing negative divergence. I'm leaning towards this playing out, but it may not actually deliver a lot. Might just be a back test of 10,000. We will see. CW, nice looking double bottom here. 60-minute buy signal is now pretty much reached target. CC, we've got a break of this. Well, this was a flag. It broke up. The target was a retest of this high here, which obviously it is more than done. And when we broke over it, I was saying this morning, the next obvious target was a retest of this high here in the 452.5 area. Not quite made that, and we are pulling back a bit. I was wondering whether this might fail, as with the last two sell signals both failed. And this is a better one than the last two, but I was still wondering about it. But at the moment, we're seeing some retracement. After that, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this high here at 452.5. All right. Soy could still be a bear flag. We had a perfect bear flag channel here, and that broke up. My lean is it's probably going to break up, but we shall see. All right. Cotton, nice little buy signal here, which has delivered today and made target. Still wondering about a retest this low here in the 68.5 area. Lumber kind of looks like a flag forming, but I have to say it's gone lower than I was expecting it to go, so I'm keeping an open mind. Do we have an obvious pattern set up here? I could draw a head and shoulders here, which it would have almost made target for, and I think maybe I should. I'll have a look at that over the weekend. All right, let's have a look at live cattle, which finally made it to the retest of this high here and it's gone a bit higher. No current negative divergence. And lean hogs, which is continuing to form what looks like a bull flag consolidation. If we get down to this level here, which is in about the 81.9 area, and at that stage, I would be wondering about a possible head and shoulders forming, but it's a bit early for that. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, KC. A possible daily RSI 14 sell signal is brewing, and this could be a double top, I guess, although it's not quite as nice as it was. Keeping an open mind, but I would say that this is just a potential and it hasn't fixed yet. Sugar, long bullish consolidation, which hasn't obviously finished yet. CC, this is interesting because we actually had an RSI 5 and RSI 14 sell signal fixed here, and they both fell. CC collapsed upwards. I think this actually last year managed to get to about 14,000 or 12,000. It's getting up into a retest area for that now. We will see. Wheat, RSI 14 buy signal fix, lovely looking double bottom, not really much sign of it playing out, but still looks nice. Corn, still wondering whether this might be an overall bear flag. We will see how it goes. Not seeing an obvious reversal pattern for sure. Soy looks like a short-term bear flag, doesn't necessarily have to be one, and as it happens, we've already got a pretty decent looking double bottom here. If we see a break up over 1044, well, at least that should get us back to 108740, which would be a larger double top, larger potential level bottom support. Sorry, resistance. CT, I'm still wondering about a possible retest of this low here at 67.9. We will see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. I will see you again on Sunday. Be wary tomorrow. I'm not in tomorrow because I've got a family engagement which I need to be at, so I'll be out all day tomorrow. But be wary about a significant breakdown in RTY or Dow. That could be a sign that we're going to see some significant support breaks. I would be assuming that we would see a retest of the ES and SPX high before we see any further decline. That wouldn't necessarily have to be the case, but that would be the obvious way to go. But if we do see that retest, be aware it could be the second high of double top. All right, brilliant. In that case, I will leave you there, and I'll see you Sunday.